Um, so this activity thing, this word activity, could imply cryptid, a lot of cryptid activity, or like if there were like cryptids that were more intelligent than humans and are like also uh, spectral. We wouldn't see them, like, you know what I mean? Uh, they could walk through walls, right? And they could make people um, start speaking every thought that comes through their head. They wouldn't be able to think without um, verbally, audibly, verbally uh, speaking. And they like maybe sometimes you were going to do that anyway. So there could be good and bad cryptids, just like there's good reptilians, or like there could be good and bad. So sometimes they might pick someone like they particularly like to induce them to speaking all their thoughts. Like they might just be chilling, and then all of a sudden they get the mumbles or something, and then they have to leave the restaurant or something. Like they go, I got the mumbles, I gotta pace outside or something like that. It's like, and then sometime when you're coming back into the building, uh, people got a cue or something like that. I don't know. It's like they're watchers or something. They call the watchers, and people think like they have some kind of archon, like a hybrid alien human archon, super lifer, psychic ability, and potentially like spectral, like two different types of obsidian comprised light, one being physical and another one being like the ethers or something. Um, the word ether, like we know there's a separation between like gas and stuff that you can't see in the air, but then also like um, spectral dimension. This is what we do know, and these are not just claims, right? Like that's the thing that kills science is that uh, if you start off with we want to look into this and claim, and then we want to break down what we already know. Like we already know. What do you already know? That has to do with the scientific method, and then how do you already know those are claims? I think what they already know is that these are claims, not true already. So they already solved it. It's like they already summarized everything. And then if it's a problem, they'll just get a fault guy or blame someone. So the watchers might cause a lot of hysteria and sit and watch it for like, it's like almost like television, cable television, or like the internet or something. Like they're just like watchers. That's what they are. They watch. But when we try to take responsibility, sometimes there are people that are cynical or skeptical about that, and they try to encourage you in the wrong way. So it's like taking responsibility for yourself. You start to interact with that cryptid, because it's cryptid activity that you don't want to continue to replicate it. So you catch yourself, and then people are like, "Oh no, that's not true. Like you're awesome. Like like you're like, oh no, I gotta slow down. Like But then that might be when people are like, oh, evacuate. Like so they'll evacuate the restaurant. Like, okay, I'm going home, folks. Thanks. See everybody later. You know, Ernie. Okay, Ted. Like, all right, Bill. Like, and There's a cryptid just watching all this shit. They could be interfering, and it is intrusive, just like in non-physical obsidian comprised light being, right? Who's like walk through your dream or something. Like they'll walk up your steps into your hallway, into your door, and right into your like walk through your dream, because it's like a spectral dimension that your mind's in. So they'll like come and be attracted to that field and come and watch, and they're like, it's okay, I'm not physical, so I'm not intrusive, right? I'm not. And then we can actually at some point, which wasn't all the time, that, you know, it's like banning them or something. Like you kick them out. It's just warding them off, you know, like they can't break a certain perimeter or something like that. We always figure out how to build it. It's just immediately we don't know, so we end up being compatible and we get we get co-opted and shit, and then we do things that are not in our own best interest, the same way that the humans that are like seemingly to be above us and elite, and they're focused on something that they can't also have either, because it's not shared with them either. And it's kind of like sometimes it's difficult, or we think it's abstract, to see that they also got burned by the Watchers. Like you can imagine, some of them would have like long black fingernails, and they touch their crusty technological device, which is like probably high tech, and it's like awesome, like glows and everything. It's like, but it's also like weird because it's alien. But then another one would have a whole different technology, right? And they would probably look like they would look like spiritually, because you can already sense them when you are trying to figure out what you want to replicate, like what type of characteristics you want to replicate. You're like envisioning them, but it's more true about them than what you did in the past that might have actually happened, especially if there's a Watcher there. Now that would be kind of hard to take responsibility for yourself if you think that a Watcher is afflicting you by forcing you to start like mutterances and pacing back and forth, like having an energy that has to evacuate, you know. And if you have the idea to evacuate to protect everyone else, then it's when you come back in the room that they evacuate. Like when you settle down and you're okay, I can go, you'll have to splash water in your face and look in the mirror like okay, and you go back in, then they know and they leave, and that's just yeah. So how are you taking responsibility for yourself? You're blaming it on the Watcher, but like when you do, it turns out that it was Watchers. When you do take responsibility for yourself, it turns out that you are interacting with a cryptid. Because how is their ability to like give a mental wink and a nod to some youth that has been probably kind of like, you know, like already groomed, and then he ends up with like an arsenal that his parents can't afford, and another family seemingly because he has 3 cell phones, and then they're like always scribbling on the weapons. Like you can't imagine a time when they didn't write on everything. Like only rarely, if you're in a real army, that you even get a chance to engrave something on the side of a shell, or you have time to like actually scratch your bullets, and by that time you actually are probably putting in lots of work. But before that, they're glamorizing it, so they all have to. And I was thinking maybe that's like some kind of plausible deniability. They would do this over and over again so that we always associate this kind of craze with the scribbles. They get the scribbles, you know? We gotta look out for that, because it could be, but why is it always like a weird sheriff in the same town? Like they're picking the town so of the shooting. Like they've been working in that town for a little bit before that, covertly. And somebody was showing a post about Charlie Kirk's ring switching, and his movements didn't seem to suggest that he had the ability to switch his ring. Like that might be a habit or something, like just inadvertent, like, you know, without thinking about it, he just switches his ring around. But there makes it seem like there's a cryptid trying to stage polarizing events, a watcher, you know? And I had to try to narrow down the motive to be like, to where it would like not serve the interest and try to disqualify, but it's possible that they're just too dumb. Also is a possibility, like, the dude's just an Antifa or something, you know? He has a chance lover. He mocked Donald Trump riding a donkey and had the Donald Trump mask, like he was the donkey, and he was riding in it, or his brother said that he was the only progressive in his household, so they'd be like, oh, he came from a conservative family, and it's like, oh, the conservative family is the reason. Oh, you're telling us that those are your not being able to. So some of the watchers are good because they could make people speak their thoughts, or even they might even help somebody to speak their thoughts that needs that ability, or they might, but they're doing watching when they do it. So if they had a good intention, then you would say like, oh, this is not intrusive. It wouldn't even be an intrusive obsidian comprised light being sitting there watching you because they helped you fulfill yourself or something like that. Like it could be like all kind of, you know, different ways that, but they're okay. I don't have any more right now. There's some cryptid behavior around the CIA preferring operatives who are weirdos, because they can mask how strange it is when they should pop up in strange places they're not supposed to be. Like inside of Comet Ping Pong, when that lunatic came by and shot the place up, there was this lawyer who brought his children there just to troll and state that it's safe and nothing bad happens there, right? So it's like, this is ridiculous and everything. He was like trolling like Pizzagate, like trying to say that it was all bogus, and then they kind of mock you like by saying that you believe that they have dungeons underground where they do other stuff, and but the whole thing is just about some pictures that we couldn't interpret what's going on in the pictures, and then we're like, oh, those are stolen. So what? Like, you've seen it already. It's too late. Like, you already seen stolen image. It's still stolen image, unexplained image. What is that? What's going on? Whose is it? And they were just like, well, don't worry about that. Those were stolen, okay? The cryptid activity, it's like cerebral, like trying to do like suggestive. Like I could just, there's like a minute where you phase out and you don't even remember, and someone's just, you know, using that on you, right? When they're like, we need a weirdo to be an operative, and indirectly hire some child operatives. Like the CIA has indirectly hired child operatives because the lawyer dude who brought his kids there was some kind of troll, and they needed him to show up to do like PR, some kind of damage control, and they chose this method, and it coincided with the shooter actually showing up at a place that had caution tape around it, and I don't know if the caution tape was up the whole time, because if it wasn't there the whole time, he walked past it, and like, or if it like, I mean, that would be irrelevant if he walked past it. If it wasn't there the whole time and it was there because of the shooter, then he was hiding out in that place for 15 minutes or 10 minutes or however 5 minutes long it took for the police to show up. And why would you barter with your children to troll and show that something is actually safe to go ahead? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he's saying, like, it's if I wanted to show that this is actually safe, then I'm going to bring my kids there to test it and show everybody that it's cool. For whatever that means, right? It just looks silly because he didn't, like, spill his Coke or they brought the food and they were standing outside the yellow tape finishing their food and looking around and stuff. And then he went on Alex Jones and it admitted all this, and it seemed like he's one of those people that you wouldn't be able to interview his wife or ask her any questions, and you don't know if those are his actual children, because King Solomon would have been like, those don't seem like those are your kids. Are you some kind of operative? And then so those kids, right, they need to be on payroll. That's crazy. They need a pension plan. They could get unmasked as agents. Whatever they're doing, people have interest, and they show up as people of interest in implicating them in espionage. So they need they need all the same things that an adult I guess operatives don't all have to be like licensed through their department or anything. There would be like some and what they call confidential informant or something like that. But they can't have child confidential informants, though. That's crazy, but not crazy, because the precedent is there for anyone at some point in time for that to happen, that they were eventually like fuck it. You know, there's a few more that I don't want to get into. It would just get dark. It would just be dark. Like, damn, they're into some dark shit. And they try to LARP as Satanists, acting like what's it called? Street performers or something. Like a theater troupe, or they invent modern art, or they do something like, and they call it aesthetics. You know, that's like this aesthetics. Like aesthetics and ethics means the same thing. So they're like, oh, this is ethics in a way. They're kind of like, this is ethics. Like, where do you get your income? Like, how do you make your money? How come they always land on their feet or something like that?